Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1989 movie A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. So, in this movie, Freddy Krueger is trying to use Alice's unborn baby to claim his new victims and rebirth himself. And Alice, with the help of Freddy's mother, is trying to stop him. This one is one of my least favorites in the franchise. It's never been one of my most favorites, but every time I rewatch it, I just like it a little bit less and everything, and now it might even be my least favorite. The pacing is just so slow. The movie's only an hour and a half and it drags so much. It feels like it's way longer than it really is. And the cast are just okay. Lisa Wilcox is still pretty good as Alice. And I think Alice is still a fine final girl and stuff, but she just got one of the worst movies in the franchise with this one. I liked her a lot more in Part 4, but she's still fine in here. Robert Englund is once again still great as Freddy, even though he's more jokey and stuff. He's still, you can tell, is still having fun in the role and still trying his best with what he has to work with and everything. So I don't fault him at all for this movie. I will say though that the makeup on Freddy isn't near as good in this one. This is the one where the makeup started kind of looking a little wonky, and it looks even worse in the next one, which is one of the complaints I have for that movie. But this one, just the makeup effects on him weren't as good. The visual effects are still pretty good though. You got some really brutal visuals in some of the kills of this movie, mostly in when he kills Dan on the motorcycle. That scene always just gets under my skin because it's just so brutal and makes me cringe every time I see those little spike things going into his skin and stuff. It just, ugh. That's easily the best scene in the entire movie. The comic book kill was kind of cool too. Like I said, they couldn't do a lot with blood, so they got creative, and I think it worked in this one. But I know that in this franchise, as it goes on, they do get wonkier and crazier, and this one just, for some reason, didn't work for me. The humor wasn't as good, the kills weren't as good, and part of it maybe also be the characters weren't as good. I didn't care about any of the characters aside from Alice. And then you have this little boy that's supposed to be Alice's unborn son. It's the little kid from first Jurassic Park that Alan Grant scares the crap out of. I always forget that he's in here and everything. I never really fully understood why they needed to have that version, but like I said, this movie is just a mixed bag for me. It's not a terrible movie, but it's definitely not one of my favorites in the franchise. I'd even go as far to say that it might be my least favorite in the franchise. But that being said, it's tolerable. I can handle watching it if I'm watching the franchise, but I'd never go out of my way just to watch it unless like I'm in a hospital or something and it happens to be on TV and there's nothing else on that I'd want to watch it. I might watch it then, but it just isn't something that I really enjoy rewatching. And everything. It doesn't have that spark and magic that the other movies in this franchise has and everything. And the kills aren't very good. There's not a lot of kills anyway, but the ones that we get aren't super great. There's one where this girl, he makes her eat a bunch of food and stuff, and it's more gross than it is anything. It's not scary at all. It's gross, trying to be funny. It's cringy, and I just don't really like that kill, and I just don't really care for this movie very much. Like 4 was more comedy than horror, but at least the comedy worked more in that one. This one, they try to be more comedy than horror, and just doesn't work. And to me, this is one of my least favorites in the franchise. So I'd say I'd give A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Master, a 5 out of 10. I'll be fair, because like I said, I can tolerate watching it, but I don't care for it very much. But I do like a lot of the sets and practical effects that they use, which is something you get in all these movies. And I like Lisa Wilcox's Alice. I think she, like I said, I still think she's a pretty decent final girl, even though this movie isn't that great. So let me know in the comments what you think of A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Master. Do you think it's one of the best? Do you think it's one of the worst? I can't say it's the very worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but out of the main original franchise, it might be my least favorite. But I can't say it's my full-fledged least favorite Nightmare movie because of the remake, but it's not very great. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Nightmare on Elm Street 5, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.